On the 6th of September, 2025, an already dire situation in southwestern China's Yunnan province escalated into a full-blown catastrophe. For days, the region had been battered by intense, unrelenting rainfall, triggering widespread flooding that had swollen rivers and waterlogged soils. But on this day, a disaster of a different magnitude struck. A major dam, unable to withstand the immense pressure of its overfilled reservoir, suffered a catastrophic failure. The sudden burst released an overwhelming, unstoppable surge of water that thundered through downstream valleys, towns, and farmland, magnifying the destruction to an almost unimaginable scale. This event now stands as one of the most destructive disasters in the province's recent history, a grim intersection of natural fury and engineering failure. The reservoir that failed had been under severe duress for days. The unrelenting rain had filled it far beyond its safe operational capacity. Engineers had been performing controlled discharges around the clock, but the inflow of water from the surrounding mountains was simply too great. The water level continued its inexorable rise, testing the structural limits of the decades-old dam. In the dark, early hours of September 6th, those limits were breached. The wall gave way. Residents in villages downstream reported hearing a sound like a thunderous crack, a deep, groaning roar from the earth itself, before a wall of muddy water, debris, and raw power descended upon them.
And the reason why you have landslides and flash floods is because the water comes down so fast.
The impact was instantaneous and apocalyptic. Entire neighborhoods were inundated within minutes. The surge of water, moving with the speed and force of a freight train, overturned vehicles, tore buildings from their foundations, and consumed vast tracts of farmland. The suddenness of the dam burst created immense and horrific challenges for emergency responders. Evacuation warnings had been issued in the preceding days due to the general flood risk, but nothing could have prepared the residents for the speed and violence of this collapse. Many were trapped with no time to escape. Search and rescue teams, deployed in boats and helicopters, were faced with a landscape of utter devastation, navigating treacherous, fast-moving currents filled with floating debris as they searched for survivors. Temporary shelters, already strained by the ongoing floods, were quickly overwhelmed by a new wave of displaced families, many of whom had lost everything they owned. For these survivors, the immediate priority was simply staying alive in the face of overwhelming uncertainty. The humanitarian impact is severe and heartbreaking. Thousands of homes were washed away or damaged beyond repair. The force of the surge tore down power lines, plunging communities into darkness. Hospitals, some of which had already suffered flood damage, reported being completely overcrowded as a massive number of injured people arrived for treatment. Water contamination became an urgent and life-threatening concern. The floodwaters, now mixed with the contents of sewers, industrial sites, and agricultural areas, became a toxic soup, threatening deadly outbreaks of diseases like cholera and dysentery. Relief agencies began a desperate race against time, distributing water purification tablets and emergency medical supplies to prevent a secondary health crisis from claiming even more lives. The agricultural losses are staggering. Vast rice paddies, cornfields, and vegetable plots were not just flooded, but scoured from the earth by the force of the water. Livestock were drowned in the thousands. Critically, seed reserves stored for the coming planting season were lost, creating the specter of long-term food shortages and deep economic hardship for a population heavily reliant on agriculture. With roads and bridges completely destroyed, farmers were cut off from markets and were unable to receive aid easily, compounding the damage to their livelihoods. Infrastructure across this part of Yunnan suffered widespread and catastrophic destruction. Bridges that had withstood the initial floods were simply obliterated by the dam surge. Major highways were washed out, and landslides triggered by the newly saturated slopes blocked countless mountain roads. Railway services were suspended, isolating entire parts of the province. The disaster has sent shockwaves through China's engineering community. Engineers have begun emergency inspections of other dams and reservoirs in the region, fearing additional failures as the rainfall continues. The event has sparked a fierce national debate and renewed concerns over dam maintenance protocols, safety monitoring systems, and the overall resilience of China's vast water infrastructure in the face of increasingly extreme weather events linked to climate change. In response, the authorities have mobilized extensive resources. Military units were deployed to assist with evacuations, deliver supplies by air, and work on stabilizing damaged embankments to prevent further breaches. Hydrological experts are continuously monitoring the region's river systems and reservoirs, issuing urgent warnings for communities further downstream. Relief organizations are working alongside local governments to provide shelter, medical aid, and desperately needed psychological support for the survivors. Environmental specialists are beginning the daunting task of assessing the contamination of soil and waterways, which could have lasting, devastating effects on both agriculture and public health for years to come. Aging infrastructure and climate change collide. While Yunnan has extensive flood control infrastructure, this event proves the terrifying limits of those defenses. Experts are now stressing the urgent need for stronger dam safety standards, the implementation of improved real-time monitoring technology, and a massive expansion of community preparedness and evacuation drills. Building resilience into both infrastructure and land management will be absolutely essential to protect lives and livelihoods in the years ahead. Despite the unimaginable devastation, countless stories of courage and solidarity have emerged from the wreckage. Residents risked their own safety to rescue their neighbors from the raging waters. Volunteers formed human chains to carry supplies across dangerous, fast-moving currents. Medical staff worked tirelessly for days on end, under the most extreme and traumatic strain. These powerful examples of solidarity demonstrate the profound resilience and strength of Yunnan's people even in their darkest hours. The recovery will take years, perhaps even a decade. Homes must be rebuilt, transport networks restored from scratch, farmland rehabilitated, and contaminated water sources cleaned. The authorities face the immense challenge of not only repairing what was lost, but ensuring that the new systems they build are stronger, safer, and more resilient. For the many families who lost loved ones and their entire way of life, the road ahead will be long and painful. The tragedy of September 6, 2025, will remain a deep scar on the province's memory, but it also stands as a powerful and urgent reminder of the critical importance of preparation, adaptation, and unity in the face of modern natural disasters.